let's start off with the plot. I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. It's
Even though it's not his cookie cutter, I
yeah.
do feel like it's another persona though of
Yep.
Jim Carrey.
Yeah, definitely.
It makes him. It does feel more serious, but like he's still funny.
I love this film because it is in a league of its own.
It is like his own.
Like, is there any other film like this? I mean, there's been other thoughts maybe similar to this, but The Truman Show was the beginning of this human being is now owned by a corporation, and we're gonna portray him in this media fashion. Like, that's pretty revolutionary, I would say.
I mean, you could see that happening in the future somehow.
I like the plot because they could have went so many different ways with it. I think that the way that they went with it was good for just everybody to enjoy. I like that they chose that. They could have went.
I'm sure they had more shots, but they.
But I'm just saying, like, I'm referring more to the plot in itself. How they center it around Truman as being like, I gotta escape this
world
situation that I'm in. I think that's probably one of the only ways you could do it and make it appealable to a wide audience. Let's start off with some of the stats. I should do that more often. Is just start with some of the stats here. So 60 million. I would not have guessed that. If you maybe there's a lot of big studio shots, but 60 million.
I mean, there's a boat.
That's still pretty
there's
huge.
There's a plane. I mean, there's big stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, and this is later on, so he's more of a bigger star too. So
yeah, so maybe he took a bigger chunk of change to film this. That could be part of it.
Yeah, the actors
who knows?
have
he's got a lot of experience under his belt. He's proven himself. He's done countless of films before this. This one was 1998, so this is the furthest one along than the ones that we've been doing. This is right after Liar Liar. I think everybody's willing to watch this film. Can't really see what they grossed. I don't have the money that they made, but
I feel like it would be a lot.
I think they would have made a killing off this one as well.
Well, just Jim Carrey.
Yeah, Jim
right
Carrey.
There
He's a huge
which
star.
Would get attraction. Yep. I think.
They get a lot of people in theaters.
So I'm guessing at least double, if not triple, what they made.
You think so? Off of Liar Liar? I would love. We're gonna go back and we're gonna figure out the.
Off of Liar Liar, I would say so. Yeah, double. At least double.
Double Liar Liar. So let's say 600 million.
Yeah.
You would guess.
Yeah. Around there.
I'm gonna be a little more conservative. I'm gonna say like 500 million.
I mean, that's still pretty close.
But it's still pretty good. Like, I think it did better than all the other films.
I feel like Truman Show is still doing a little bit better too.
Yeah. So, what was your favorite part of this film? There's a lot of good parts.
There's a lot of good parts. I would say when he figures out, I don't know. There's one part that really sticks out is when he's trying to go back on the water because he remembers going out younger with his dad.
His father died.
Well, he thinks his father dies.
Yeah.
Spoiler alert.
He doesn't die.
He doesn't die. He finds him later on, tries to get to him, and then he gets pulled away. And then at that time, like, you almost feel like there's some. You already know that he's in this fake world.
Yep.
So you think that there's people trying to keep him away from his dad at this time.
Yep.
So you're not thinking that it's in a big, huge dome. You're just thinking it's out in the real world at this time. And then there's just people, like, trying to keep him away from his real dad or whatever. So, like, that to me was, oh shit, like, these people are actually trying to keep him away from his dad. Like,
yeah.
That's one of them. I mean, but there's different scenes that I feel like there's been a lot of climaxes in this movie, I feel like.
Yeah, there's it's kind of a roller coaster when he starts to figure out that he's part of something bigger. Like, one of my favorite parts is, one of the weird parts was all the advertising. Like, that's got to be a clear giveaway. Like, people don't act like this normally, but they're using Truman as a big advertising vessel for...
But he didn't really realize it until, like, later on. Like, even when his wife shows up with that bag of groceries, she pulls out, "Hey, I bought this, honey." Like, she doesn't really...
why do you keep doing that?
Yeah, like, well, even the first hint when you first watch it, you don't think about that.
Yeah, and
you just think she's like, oh, I'm showing something off.
Here's another thing you have to consider too, and this is maybe a little deeper than what we need to get to in this film. He's lived his whole life like that.
No, I know.
So
He's
that's all he knows.
realized,
That's all he knows is people
but
doing that.
But
hey, honey, I got this fresh can of peas.
Yeah.
They're really good. They're really delicious. Why do you say it like that?
Well, yeah. Later on, he figures that out. Like, why do you keep saying? Yeah, why do you keep saying? Like, why do you keep like?
What are you talking to? Who are you talking to? We're the only ones here right now.
Yeah.
that realization was my favorite part of the film. Like, okay, he's getting it. You know, later on when there's actual like they portray like audiences watching that film.
Like there were reactions.
Yeah, the reactions to it. Some people were like shocked. Some people were like, oh, you know, like when he finally escapes, everybody has different reactions. Like, oh, I wanted to continue. Oh, I'm so glad he got out of there. You know, it's like so many different.
In the end, I think everybody was still pretty glad that he.
Yeah, I'd say like the majority they portray that as like, all right, he made it. Yes. The in the trailer, the light falling out of the sky, that was probably the big aha moment for him. I like how they portrayed the sweater as like this icon of like, oh, I need to find this girl. She pulled me away from this environment for just a little bit, and I have this memory of it.
Well, she was trying to get him to realize that he wasn't. He
was part of something
bigger.
Yeah, he's part of this contraption. This is all fake.
She didn't want to talk at that point because she knew they were watching.
Yep.
So then she pulls him aside, gets him to the beach.
Yep, and she found like.
I don't remember exactly how he.
I remember that part too, but it was like a big eye-opening part for him. Like, oh, he always has that memory of like.
At least her. Like, what was she talking about?
He planted the seed of like.
Well,
what is going on? Yeah, she did plant the seed in his brain, like they portrayed in the film.
Yeah.
I like that. There's a lot of build-up, a lot of storytelling. They don't really announce the corporate side of it right away either. It's just played along.
That's what I'm saying.
Normal life.
In the beginning, you feel like it's
about halfway through the film.
Yeah, I'm gonna say at least somewhat halfway through the film, they finally figured out it's this guy directing every other actor.
Yeah, and that was another bizarre part. Everybody in there is an actor. They're all staged to cross away over here, drive your car over here. Like everything is all staged around this one character.
But even then, you gotta think like these actors, they're living a life too, in Truman's world. Like
that is so bizarre.
Could you take yourself out of your life?
Yeah, that's a full-time job. You would think if you're like portraying
24/7.
Yeah, exactly.
Especially if you're Truman's wife.
You're the wife of Truman. The actual show is based off of. You got to commit your life to that.
Yeah, you're committing your life.
Yeah, I mean,
at least every other character could probably sneak out in the middle of the night or something. You know, but even then, that's like, what? At least a half. Beginning of the day. Like his neighbors, he sees in the beginning, and then maybe they go home in the middle of it. And
maybe they have their own life outside of the Truman Show. That is just kind of weird because there's this village environment too of everybody that he runs into every day. Do they like think of their work environment? Oh, I got to commute to work to the Truman Show, and all right, what am I doing today? Oh, you're going to be at the soda machine, giving him a soda when he walks by. Okay, we got you, or whatever the case may be. It's like, how do people live this life in the Truman Show?
Well, that was one of the later on, the Truman goes back in the sea, finally fights his fear about, because he hated water as a kid because of his whole dad dying. And so then they don't know where he is. He escaped from his house. He goes on the water, and they're like, we gotta get him. And then there's people on the ship. They're like, well, go out to sea and get him. And they're like, I don't know how to work these things.
That was a good part. I like that too. We're just actors. We don't operate boats. We're just pretending.
Yeah, we just pretend to operate
One of my favorite parts is like the big parts for me were his trying to escape parts were just really really well put together. Like my favorite one was like how like you get this build up. How are they going to get it when he gets on the bus? He's trying to get to Fiji. How are they going to portray like this isn't going to work? So how are they going to stop him? And they literally just sit there like, oh shit, the bus broke down. Okay, I guess everybody off.
Well, just like all of a sudden the smoke comes out of the engine out of nowhere. It was just working 2 seconds ago. And that's still at the beginning too. Like you're just like, well, that's a big coincidence. Like So you're still like, even yourself, you're like Truman trying to figure out like, I did like that aspect. Like you're kind of along the ride with Truman, in a way like, what's going on? Like, you know something's going on. Yeah, you know it. Like you kind of see the steps of Truman's too. You know, like here's like, well, it's not the real world. And so then that's when you find, he starts getting, and you're like, oh, you start figuring out.
Yeah, yeah. All these little tricks that they play when they have to react in real time to him making decisions just on the fly.
Well, just like his friend Marlon, which is kind of
exactly.
funny.
He was a big actor in the film, trying to get him to think a certain way, and he's just like, I don't think I can think that way, man. I already was kind of exposed with the seed of this girl saying it was all kind of fake.
I mean,
how do I know you're not fake?
Well, I mean...
And he doesn't really think that right away either.
Not right away, yeah. Marlon kind of sets him in that tone, like, I think you saw this, but this is what you probably thought. And then Truman at first was just like, yeah,
you're probably right.
You're probably right. And then later towards
like his
the end,
best friend in the movie.
Oh, I wouldn't lie to you.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, and then I'm just like, you're a scummy son of a bitch.
You son of a bitch. You sold yourself to the devil. I like that part of the film, though. It makes it it really enjoyable. I would say another hot part to talk about is him trying to escape with his wife.
Oh, yeah.
And he's kind of figured out all these different things that are happening. Like, he's got it kind of figured out.
Well,
and there he goes.
All right, this is gonna happen.
There he goes.
This is gonna happen.
Yep. And he points out
all these just watch. And then, like, certain channels...
Let's go for a ride! That's probably one of my favorite parts. Let's go for a ride! And he's, like, doing all these crazy
trying to escape the fucking car, and he's like, nope,
Truman! No! And then she divorces. that was probably my favorite part of the film. It was just like, all right, I guess I figured it out. And let's throw another girl in there and see if we can get this whole thing kind of started back up. We need a lot more drama in his life. We need to sell more products.
Well, one of my favorite parts is when they're going through a book, and it's different photos of him as a young kid, different places. One of my favorite parts, you know what it is?
No.
Mount Rushmore.
Yeah.
He goes to Mount Rushmore as a kid, and he's like, I thought they'd be a lot bigger because it's just like
everything is completely staged. I love it. I mean, it
makes sense because he's never been there for real.
Yeah.
And as a kid, you're not gonna think, why are these mountains